This case is one of the most important ever being heard at the Supreme Court. Just across the street, we saw the insurrection at the US Capitol on January the 6th, 2021. Former US President Donald Trump is charged with trying to overturn the election that was certified in Congress that day. He's facing trial and potentially prison. But Trump and his lawyers claim, as president, he had absolute immunity from prosecution for any acts while taken in office. His lawyers claimed in front of the Supreme Court justices that he could only be prosecuted if he'd been impeached, convicted and removed from office in a congressional trial.
Without presidential immunity from criminal prosecution, there can be no presidency as we know it. For 234 years of American history, no president was ever prosecuted for his official acts. If a president can be charged, put on trial, and imprisoned for his most controversial decisions as soon as he leaves office, that looming threat will distort the president's decision-making precisely when bold and fearless action is most needed.
Trump, of course, was impeached twice, but was acquitted by the Senate and not removed from office. US government lawyers, however, argued there is no blanket immunity from prosecution for presidents who already have many protections as they execute their duties while in the White House. But they argued Trump, in aiming to overturn the 2020 election, wasn't acting as president, but as a private individual pursuing selfish ends.
This court has never recognized absolute criminal immunity for any public official. His novel theory would immunize former presidents for criminal liability for bribery, treason, sedition, murder, and here conspiring to use fraud to overturn the results of an election and perpetuate himself in power.
Many of the justices seem skeptical that any president has full immunity from prosecution. What if a president ordered a coup, one asked? What if the president started selling ambassadorships?
There does seem to be some common ground between you and your colleague on the other side, that no man's above the law and that the president can be prosecuted after he leaves office for his private conduct.
There was, remember, one US president who faced possible prosecution, Richard Nixon, but he resigned and was pardoned by his successor. Some justices expressed worries that if presidents aren't given immunity, then many could be prosecuted as soon as they leave office. It's not known when the Supreme Court will decide this question. Their current term ends in 2 months, or whether it might even send the issue back down to lower courts. These delays have frustrated prosecutors who essentially wanted this trial wrapped up before the November election. That now looks almost impossible. What also could be a problem if Donald Trump wins, of course, is that the case could stop in its tracks. No one pursues a case against the sitting president, and also he could pardon himself potentially too. Nathan King, CGTN, outside the Supreme Court.